Well, thank you very much. Good evening and welcome, everyone. As one's children leave the nest and move on to pastures new, the times get fewer when we can unite as a family. Today, on this wonderful occasion, is one of those rarest of days for Maureen and for myself. Sarah, Jonathan, Ed, Will, and Lindsay and Anna, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's very, very special. Well, Sarah and Jonathan, wow! What a day it is for you two, the best. Celebrating your love surrounded by friends and family. Sarah, darling Sarah, daughter and friend, the tiny bundle that stretched from here to here in my arms on that memorable 1st of August, a fantastic early birthday present for me. And as we all know, Leos rock. Yes. In that little package was a quite unimaginable combination of potential talent waiting to enrich the world in which she would grow up. I wonder what the late, great George Martin of Beatles renown, who held you in his arms at your christening, would have thought as you brought the iconic Cavern Club to light on that extraordinary weekend in Liverpool just a few months ago during International Beatles Week. Well, George, I'm sure it would have been much as I felt, unadulterated pride and admiration many years ago, sitting in the audience at Edgeborough, as I first heard an 11-year-old Sarah singing Handel's Where'er You Walk, or, just over 2 years later, in a packed Marlborough College chapel for their carol service, where she sang solo the first verse of Harold Dark's In the Bleak Midwinter. You could have heard a pin drop. This, as Howard Goodall said of her, was the voice of an angel. Aww. And along with all of this was the little girl who sat with me in the Roman Arena in Saintes, eating pain au chocolat, in the morning sunshine, diving into a swimming pool somewhere, we die together, or coming home from school while listening to Eddie Izzard's profanities on the cassette and howling with laughter. More recently, my Surrey Seniors cricketing mates were delighted to see Sarah as an uninhibitedly enthusiastic spectator at a game when, instead of polite applause and handshakes, her dad was greeted with a full-on leaping hug on his return to the pavilion after a successful innings. Now that's jazz! This is also a lady who knows how to live out of her comfort zone, showing great courage, determination and skill in her career at the BBC, dealing with high-pressure situations, such as editing the incoming reports for the national news during a funeral of Prince Philip, and more recently, mastering the latest camera technology on outside broadcasting shoots. Another challenge, of a different kind, over the last year, has been learning to drive in London, of all places. And that, too, she has tackled with persistence and resolve, even roundabouts. She hates roundabouts. And so we come to a game-changing moment in both Sarah and Jonathan's life. Friday, the 25th of March, 2022, the day that they first met. Sarah was with us that weekend, which also happened to be Mothering Sunday, and we had plenty of time to chat. One thing was very noticeable. The date with Jonathan had gone very well. We've heard all that earlier on, and it's absolutely true. I felt very relaxed in his company, she said to us. We laughed a lot together, and so it began. From this promising start, the relationship blossomed, and when we ourselves met Jonathan one weekend in May, Maureen and I sensed something very special. And so it turned out. On the 22nd of July this year, on the occasion of Sarah's birthday celebration, we were treated to a wonderful surprise. No, not the vegan birthday cake, but A proposal of marriage. It could have been straight out of the film set of Love Actually, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And now, here we are, today, in this magnificent venue celebrating their union. And in the words of the Bard of Avon, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, nor bends with a remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. To Sarah and Jonathan.
John Hamblin, a blessing or a curse? That's not the title of this speech, or a judgment. Far be it from me to suggest on this blessed day that this loyal, kind, inventive, hilarious man is anything other than a blessing to his friends, his family, or his wonderful wife, Sarah. But it is what went through my mind when I considered the job before me of writing a best man speech about him. This, after all, is a man who has often seemed to be living his entire life as material for speeches like this. John is a limitless resource of mishaps, misfortunes, misadventures, pratfalls, gags, and farcical tales of the unexpected. This is a man who is able to summon an invisible table leg to trip over at will, sometimes metaphorically, sometimes very much not. Surely as the subject of a best man speech, John is an absolute gift. He's an embarrassment of richness of embarrassments. But there's just one problem. Actually, two problems. Actually, three. The first problem, there are so many stories, I can't remember them all, and I don't know where to start. That time when he locked himself out of our motel room in the Arizona desert at 2:30 in the morning because he got freaked out by a bug. Or that time when he accidentally ended up roommates with a fascist. Or that time when he introduced himself to a new workmate by stabbing him in the arm. Hi, Geoff. It's too much. Where do I begin? The second problem. This is a man whose talent for getting into absurd, self-defeating scrapes is only matched by his talent for spinning them into anecdotes afterward. If there's a good story about John, then John has already taken it on the road and milked it for all it's worth. When he texted the other day to tell me he had almost set his house on fire, I was not surprised. I was not surprised that it had happened. I was not surprised that he initially provided no context or details, waiting for me to deliver my feed line. Oh no, John, what happened? I was not surprised when the answer then came in the form of a 453-word story, complete with line breaks, dialogue, a memorable fireman character, and a truly awful punchline. All delivered so swiftly, it had obviously been copied and pasted from Google Docs, where he'd been working it up for the past 2 hours. But I was surprised, when I thought about it, that I hadn't had one of these anecdotes in quite a while. And when I thought some more about that, I was very happy. I will explain why. But first, the third problem facing the author of a John Hamblin Best Man speech. This one's more than a problem, in fact. It's a paradox. On one level, you can sense that John wants these stories to be told about him. And as a best man, primed for this time-honoured ritual of humiliation, that is not what you are looking for. John is unembarrassable. It's a nightmare. It's also a bit annoying. All of a sudden, I don't feel like telling these stories at all. I don't want to tell them because they are and have always been a distraction from the person John really is. A perceptive and profoundly knowledgeable critic and fan who tells stories so much because he loves hearing them so much. A serious, sensitive, ceaselessly creative force He wants nothing more than to make things that bring joy to other people, even and especially if it's an audience of one. A loving, watchful friend who always knows the right thing to ask, the right person to look out for, and the right moment to sacrifice his own dignity or comfort for someone else's. And I don't want to tell the stories because, as much fun as it is to hear John spin yarns for us about the vortex of chaos he has lived in, I know that life has asked an awful lot of him, and that vortexes of chaos are actually pretty tiring places to be. That's why I was so happy not to have heard any of these stories for a while, because I knew that meant my friend had been enjoying some much-needed peace. And I knew the reason for that peace was Sarah. Now, this isn't the time or the place to dwell on John's prior love life. Let's just say that for the 20 years I've known him, John has been a tireless dater. But for much of those 20 years, I watched John search for something he couldn't seem to find. Maybe he was unlucky, maybe he was looking too hard. But as soon as he met Sarah, I knew he had found it at last. I knew here was someone as funny, creative, and caring as him, someone as giving as him, but who could also give as good as she got from him. But also someone who could see him for what he really was, and who wanted him to be that guy as much as he wanted that for himself. Sarah, I can't tell you how much joy it brings me to see John living the stable, unchaotic, anecdote-proof, blissfully contented life he deserves. Apart from that time, the other day, when he almost set his house on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses to the bride and groom.
Okay, right. I'm going to try and not cry the whole way through this. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jess, and I have the incredible honour of standing here today as maid of honour for my best and oldest friend, Sarah. So first and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for joining us here today on this beautiful day to celebrate the love between Sarah and Jonathan. Your presence here is a testament to the love and support that surrounds them, and it means the world to both of them. So I've known Sarah for 27 years now. Oh my God. And I can honestly say that our friendship has been a journey filled with laughter, adventure, and of course, a few tears along the way. From sharing a room together at school, from being in the choir together, making music together, and from also from you and Tim planning to microwave my Backstreet Boys CD after playing it on repeat. And us making plans together to try and survive school and our teens, to living together in Brixton and navigating the ups and downs of dating and adulthood by watching endless episodes of RuPaul. We've been through it all together. So we've held each other through the dark times, and Sarah is still actually the first person I turn to for advice. And throughout it all, I've had the privilege of watching you grow into the most incredible person you are today. Sarah, you're not only my best friend, but you are also the sister I've never had. And I've witnessed your strength, resilience, kindness, talent, and unwavering loyalty time and time again. You deserve nothing but the absolute best, and you've definitely found that in Jonathan. I feel so lucky to be by your side today on your dream day as best friends, the day that we always wished for. And for that, I'm very, very, very grateful. I'm just so happy that you've made it. Your dream has come true. Jonathan? It's very safe, I promise you. I want to take a moment to welcome you officially into our circle of friends and family. From the moment Sarah showed us the cat video that you made her for your first date, we knew that you were made for each other. Your love for her is so evident in the way that you look at her, the way that you support her dreams, and the way that you make her laugh. And you've not only won her heart, but ours as well. And we're so grateful to have you as part of our lives. So as we gather here today to celebrate the union of Sarah and Jonathan, let us remember that love is not just about that movie-style love, but it's also found in cat videos and the everyday moments, the small acts of kindness, the shared laughter, and the unwavering support that you have for each other. Sarah and Jonathan, you've already demonstrated your commitment to one another, as have Chow and Billy in their blossoming bromance. And we have no doubt that your family's love will continue to grow and flourish in the years to come. So here's to Sarah and Jonathan, two incredible individuals who've come together to create a love story that will inspire us all. May your journey ahead be filled with joy, laughter, and a love that knows no bounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses as we toast to the newlyweds. To Sarah and Jonathan, may your love be a shining example of what is possible when two hearts come together in perfect harmony. Cheers.
Yeah, I suspect I did get this role here today out of some long-term service award. I knew him as a child, and the one he carries in spirit, and the man he's become, and the geriatric his internal organs seem to think he is. He has had friends who've maybe been close to him, who'll indulge him with credulity and patience. We don't have a relationship this long without some genuine fondness, caring, and kinship. And if I describe our relationship together, it's always been as a fraternal one, a big brother, if only in the outreach sense. But we've had our other roles to each other. My Sancho Panza to his Don Quixote, my 3PO to his R2-D2, and on one occasion, my Exorcist to his Linda Blair. We have a photo of it. I like to think he's benefited from my counsel over the years, where I've offered advice and guidance and moral clarity. He has listened, done the exact opposite thing, gone on to double his salary. Can't say I've not been baffled by his choices over the year, as Ollie alluded to. He's written about them copiously, and there's not many others who would prioritise on puncturing their privates in a tragic tailoring accident to make haste to a keyboard. We don't have photos of that. Do we? No. It would be mercifully pre-smartphone and pre-Instagram. But he is the person who decided to record, speaking to his soon-to-be in-laws, in fact, and putting out a statement of his intent to their daughter and recording for prosperity their expressions as they swiftly but clearly move through the 5 stages of grief. It was a lovely acceptance speech you gave that. But I too have noticed a change in John, and it can only really be put down to Sarah, so I am thankful, relieved and delighted by you being in his life now.
This is very much a pass the baton moment.
Yeah.
That's your problem now.
I moved out of London just before they started dating, and John wrote me a letter. Wow. Dear Simon, he goes on. And on. There's not much here that's quotable or relevant, but what I will say is it's deeply humbling, profoundly honest, and touchingly bittersweet. Not the John I knew, but it was very disarming, and being disarming has always been his superpower. So, yes, sorry. He has always been the friend who I've been the most relaxed and unarmed around, the friend I can be most inspired and funniest with, and today most proud of self. Dear John.
Cheers, John.
I'll now pass the baton over to the father of the group.
Thank you.
Now my father, Chris Hamblin.
Just who he is, though.
Yes.
You'll be pleased to know I've been allocated a full minute for this speech. Don't hold your breath. This is with apologies to the bard. On this joyous occasion we gather today to celebrate your love in a rather unique way. Sarah the bride with a heart so kind, John the groom with a witty mind. Together they will make a perfect pair, spreading their laughter everywhere. Sarah with her radiant smile so bright, John with his jokes that are sometimes all right. Through thick and thin, through laughter and tears, Sarah and John, may your love conquer fears. Sarah, the beauty with a heart so warm, captivated all with her warmth and charm. John, the dashing groom. Do you want this?
If you can't read that word, it says full of charm.
The dashing groom, full of wit. I'm sure that's a misprint.
It's a slow burn, that one, isn't it?
They got it eventually. Together, they will make a perfect fit. So let's raise our glasses, filled to the brim, to Sarah and John, and let their story begin.
First of all, I would just like to say buenos noches for our Spanish friends and good evening for everyone else. I can't possibly compare to any of those amazing speeches that we just witnessed. I'm already feeling a bit emotional. I haven't even started mine yet. But oh my gosh. Power through. Okay, so before I start, I'd just like to say a few thanks. First of all, to our parents, Chris and Helena, and Richard and Maureen, who have all been incredibly generous in helping us make today happen, and whose love and support really does mean everything to us. My dad, Chris, is honestly my best friend in the world, my rock, and I'm so proud to have him and so proud to have him and Helena here today, and I love you both. I really do. Sarah's family too have been incredibly warm and welcoming, even though I don't really know that much about cricket. And to be honest, I'm 50-50 on dogs. I know. That's how much I love her. It can be really, really hard meeting new families, but I just want to say the Jacksons have made it really easy, and I really love you all for that. I want to thank Ellie, our amazing celebrant, who conducted the service with such aplomb and panache. This is like, we're not doing Inception speeches, where there's like speeches within speeches within speeches. I would like to thank Alicia, our beautiful flower girl, and Bethan as well. And I'd just like to thank my beautiful sister Will for reading Mum's poem. Oh, sorry, Liz was going to do it originally. I didn't have time to rewrite it. And thanks for the wonderful reading again to Maureen, who somehow found a loophole to get a second thank you. We're not doing Inception speeches! I'd like to say thank you to our bridal and groom parties, to Ollie and Simon, the very bestest men. There's a note to self here, change this to all right men if they savage you in their speeches. Lucky you didn't. And I'd like to thank Jess for her amazing performance, and
Not yet.
No. It's like, just for being in the bridal party. And Maureen, who is clearly going for the world record for the most thank yous in a single speech. Thanks so much to our family, our dearest brothers and sisters, partners and nieces who've travelled near and far. One brother, Will, has travelled all the way here from Kent. And the other brother, Will, get ready, from Sydney. Proving without doubt that where there's a will, there's a way. Sorry, these are the jokes, people. It just means so much to us that you could be here. And a huge thank you to our caterers, Yellow Kitchen, and our hosts here at the neon-drenched Godzone Junkyard. Thanks for being so accommodating and wonderful. You really have been amazing today. And one last thank you to all of our friends. These 40 years have been a wild ride, and we appreciate you sticking through us through thick and thin. When we were planning the venue-restricted guest list for this wedding, Sarah had one rule. We were only going to invite people who were going to cry when she walked down the aisle. Not only did you make us proud, you made me cry thinking about how lucky we are to have such amazing people in our lives. And finally, I just wanted to thank my mum, who would have loved today. I love you, Mum. Hope you're enjoying the show. So, today was a day that I was terrified of. I've spent a lot of my life scared I'd be making the wrong decisions or doing the wrong things, especially when it came to love and marriage. I spent years worrying I'd marry the wrong person or perhaps not find anyone at all. So I think it says a lot that now this day is here, I don't feel scared at all. Just the love and appreciation.
We're already married.
Yeah. To take the sting out that way.
Terrified on Thursday.
Yeah, I was. At least I thought if she doesn't turn up, I can just eat loads of food and chat with my friends. That's fine today. So it says a lot so that I don't feel scared at all. Just the love and appreciation of my friends and family and my beautiful new wife, Sarah. Doesn't she look beautiful today? Yeah. So I think the day I first met Sarah was the day I stopped feeling scared. Our first date didn't have the most auspicious start. She was running late, well, very late actually, after her work in the BBC newsroom hit an unexpected snag. But even though I was waiting at our rendezvous point for a while, an hour and a half, it wasn't annoying due to her frequent updates that grew ever more exasperated as tube delays added to the lateness, culminating in a video call from the stopped train where she got a random group of strangers to confirm that the train had indeed stopped somewhere between Charing Cross and Waterloo. And I realised that this was a person who cared deeply, someone who considered other people, and someone who was able to make me feel completely safe. When she actually arrived, it was worth the wait too. Not only was she obviously stunning, but she had fascinating stories that made me laugh constantly. People always say they want a partner with a good sense of humour, when actually what they mean is someone with a sense of humour that's on the same wavelength. We were definitely on the same silly, ludicrous wavelength. And in time, it turned out that she was also someone who encouraged me creatively, someone who helped me become a better person, and actually someone whose love language was vegan magnums. Over the last 18 months, there have been so many moments that revealed who Sarah was and why she was destined to be my person. In improvisational comedy, the best scene partner is not someone who shuts things down, but someone who builds on the other's suggestions with a yes and. And Sarah has proved herself to be the best scene partner a person could want. After all, who would follow their partner to visit a commune that worships a time machine at the centre of a temple built in the middle of a mountain in the Italian Alps? Only Sarah. Who would see my recent redundancy not as a failure, but as an opportunity to chart a new career path? Only Sarah. And who would be willing to spend months training our two cats, Billy and Chow, to become the very best of friends? Only, well, at least good frenemies. Only Sarah. And who would say yes to getting married in a junkyard? Only Sarah. And finally, who would put up with me leaving my clothes all over the bedroom floor? Well, nobody's perfect. She inspires me every day. Sarah is so creative, whether at her work at the BBC or in her band, the TR5s, or working on comedy shows with her friend Emma. She's always got an incredible project on the go, and it's matched with an incredible work ethic, like when her band performed 13 gigs in 4 days earlier this year at the Liverpool Beatles Week. Even the Mop Tops didn't work that hard. I love that I'm as excited about supporting her future projects as I am my own. And I love that she's the last person I speak to every night, and the first person I speak to every morning. I want it to be that way every day for the rest of my life. Because when she gave me her love, she took away my fear. And now I'm able to pass that love on to our future kids. Albert Einstein once said, when you trip over love, it's easy to get up. But when you fall in love, it's impossible to stand again. Well, I'm not even going to try. I promise to keep falling for you every day for the rest of my life. Ladies and gentlemen, please raise a glass to the most beautiful woman in the world, my wife, Sarah.
Nailed it, honey.